Hi, golly gee willikers, Batman. It looks like we're finally getting the Snow Princess herself, Skirk, right? I would say Abyss Princess, but of course, we can't add another element into the game. We have to make sure that it stays within the realms of the 7 elements of Tevat, obviously. So we have Cryo, Abyss, Mommy, Princess, Big Forehead, Girl. But no, I am relatively excited for Skirk. Skirk was one of those characters that I felt was like true badassery incarnate, right? Um, I believe that we first saw her obviously when we fought the big giant big mommy narwhal or whatever the hell you want to call it. And once we beat it, we saw her treat child like a, handbag, just throwing it anywhere that she wanted to. Suffice to say that, again, I wasn't really expecting Skirk to really come out anytime soon, but the fact remains is that she's here, and she's about to just be a part of the cast of Genshin Impact. Whether you want to consider her waifu bait or not, depends on how the story goes, because really, every new character that gets released gets called waifu bait at this point, and you know what? That's fine. If Skirk wants to be a waifu, I'll make her a waifu. Trust me on that. But outside of that, I want to talk about if this banner is actually something that you should go for, because, well, looking at the 4 stars, it's leaving a little bit to be desired. And the fact remains that looking at these 4 stars, well, it kind of contradicts the new unit known as Dahlia. And I'm going to get into that here in just a second. But before we really get into it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you also hit that notification bell to be notified of when the next Genshin Impact video comes out. I do like to have a little bit of Genshin Impact in my channel, but who knows? We like to dive into other stuff too, like Goddess of Victory Nikke, Wuthering Waves, and of course all the other gacha games because, well, I'm a gambling addict and I'm old. Also, don't forget to check out GamerSupps. Use code Tystra for 10% off of your purchase. Please, I'm trying to get my own cup, and I can only be a grandpa on a cup if y'all help me get there. So, Mr. Judge, Jury, Executioner of the Church of Favonius, and just in general Mondstadt, I guess he just rules with his tomboy fist. Well, not tomboy, femboy. That's more like it. But yeah, he basically has been touted about being like this, big figure in Mondstadt, right? And, he might well be, but you know what? The fact that he's best friends with Venti, knows that Venti is Lord Barbados, and just basically likes to troll the hell out of people, I give him props. He's a really cool dude. That being said, though, again, it just seems weird that we got so many femboys in Mondstadt. I'm just saying. Mondstadt might as well be making their own femboy hooters at this point because, well, Venti and literally Dahlia here could be the front runners of the femboy hooters at this point. That's just what it is. But let's go ahead and talk about it because with Dahlia, and I said this in my short, I feel like adding Diona and Candace to this banner, while yes, fulfills the whole 2 Hydro 2 Cryo thing that I'm thinking, it seems a little weird to add those two alongside Dahlia because, well, Dahlia is a little bit of boring to look at, but the kid is just too damn good. You know what I mean? Or at least that's what it feels like. So let's go ahead and dive in a little bit. Here we go. We got our skill here. After a short prayer, summons the sacramental shower in front. If you hold it, engages in continuous prayer, and when done, summons forth a sacramental shower. What the sacramental shower does is when opponents or nearby party members touch the sacramental shower, different effects will occur depending on the one who touches it. If an opponent touches the shower, it'll explode and deal AoE hydro damage to nearby opponents, and if nearby party members touch it, it'll bounce the one who touches it high into the air. Cool. You get to just dodge, basically, or jump high into the air. Then, of course, you got your burst here, Radiant Vasalter. Basically, what it does is, while this effect is active, one Benison stack may be consumed to summon a new shield of sacred favor when an existing shield is broken via damage. Basically, it summons a shield, and you can continue to summon a shield. I skipped this first part. I'm dumb. With the earnestness and song dealing AoE hydro damage to nearby opponents and granting his party members Favonian favor, summoning a shield of sacred favor. And the shield of sacred favor's damage absorption is based on Dahlia's max HP, with the absorption also doing hydro damage with 250% effectiveness, which is cool, right? So pretty neat that you're able to absorb damage, but also if you consume that medicine stack, you're basically gaining a new shield once it's broken. So you're just basically replenishing. And I feel like he already outbeats Diona in that regard when it comes to shielding. Of course, Diona has healing and shielding as well, so there's that for you. But I feel the shielding could be more tilted towards Dahlia's side, even with the healing on Diona's side. And here's why. With your first passive, the Wind's Gentle Grace, when characters affected by Favonian Favor effect of the Elemental Burst Radiant Faciliter trigger Frozen, they will grant Dahlia 2 Benison stacks. So you already have 2 guaranteed damage absorbing shields as you rotate through your shields. So in a way, you're kind of really guaranteed just shields constantly coming back up. So it really puts Diona into that state of like, okay, yeah, you could heal, but you're getting like 3 shields just from the get-go. And I think that, in my opinion, is just absolutely bonkers, especially when the shield dies off and then you get another shield. And then that shield dies off and then you get another shield, right? And depending on how much ER you build into this character, you might not have to worry about your shields all that often. Plus, if you're going to run Dahlia on a Frozen team, that would make the most sense, especially since Skirk is going to benefit from that Frozen team in general. Now, you also have Prayer of the Well-Wrought Joy. When the active party member is affected by the Favonian Favor effect of the Elemental Burst Radiant Faciliter, their attack speed will increase based on Dahlia's max HP. Every 1,000 max HP will cause an increase of 0.5% up to a maximum of 20%. So basically, make sure that your Dahlia has 40k HP and you're set on getting that much more attack speed. And I think that is actually worth it more than the healing. Because again, if you're being shielded so much by the Benison stacks, you don't have to worry about the healing too much. Now, I've talked about Diona a little bit already in my personal experience with Diona. I think Diona is great. I think that Diona is still a really good unit, but I think that Dahlia is going to outpace her, especially since you're going to be able to max your Dahlia up for his, HP in general. So I think that you don't have to worry about the healing with Diona. So really, it just goes down to, does Dahlia provide more than Candace as well? And I feel like that's a very easy task, to be honest, because while Candace is kind of cool, Candace doesn't really do much. Like, increase elemental damage with their normal attacks, and that's about it. There's not really much else that I see going on with her kit. And from my experience of playing her, and I have her at Friendship 10, she doesn't really add that much to the team outside of just being hot. Now, of course, I can't just say that. Like, obviously, she has shield absorption as well, or shield damage absorption when she holds down her E. But again, if you have Dahlia, you don't really have to worry about that. There's no point. Like, Dahlia's shield is going to be up the entire time, and you could just stay on your attacker as much as possible, which, from my understanding, Skirk is going to be on the field a majority of the time. So while, in essence, this banner is great to have that 2-2 Hydro and Cryo, this really doesn't mesh that well. And then you throw Shinhe in the mix, Shinhe being the other 5-star in the banner, and it really doesn't make any sense to summon on Shinhe for this banner unless you just want to get more Dahlia, cons. I mean, man, it kind of sucks for these banners. And it's not that it's so bad because of every unit being bad. It's just that if you're going to summon for the 2 new units, while, yes, you fulfill certain conditions, it doesn't really do much to what you need. You're not stacking different shields. You're not absorbing, double the damage and stuff like that because of it. And it's just, I don't know. It just seems weird. I think the only benefit is Shinhe, again, being able to, obviously up your, damage and being a part of, basically in tandem with your Frozen DPS, right? She's going to work with them. But at the same time, is she going to beat out the new Escoffier unit? But that's just it. It's only if you summoned for Escoffier, because Escoffier is a great Cryo, Frozen, support. And she's also able to deal an excessive amount of damage if you've built her correctly, right? But the thing is she's going to work really, really well with units doing the 2-2, the 2 Hydro, 2 Frozen, 2 Cryo. Because if you look here at her second passive right here, when there are 1, 2, 3, 4 Hydro or Cryo characters in the party, Escoffier will decrease the Hydro resistance and Cryo resistance of any opponents hit by her elemental skill, low temperature cooking, or her elemental burst, scoring cuts by 5, 10, 15, and then 55% for 12 seconds, which is pretty insane. Also, my apologies for my voice. I've been sick for the last couple days, so I'm just now getting over everything. So bear with me. I'm trying my best, gosh darn it. But if we talk about Skirk here, right? Skirk is going to want to be on the field as much as possible. First, we have Havoc Warp, initiates the combat style of the Fool. Or the Foul? The Fool? The Foul. The Foul. Produces different effects depending on whether you tap or hold. Tap, Skirt gains 45 Serpent's Subtlety uh, and switches to 7-phase mode. Hold, she gains the same thing, 45, and will continuously move at high speeds. Her interruption resistance is increased in the state. Uh, During this time, Skirt can control her movement direction and move atop of water. She can also use the skill again and end rapid movement prematurely. It's pretty insane because she's not going to use any energy. She's going to gain that energy of her own volition, right? Skirk's elemental burst here, Havoc Ruin, is not reliant on elemental energy, but instead on Serpent's subtlety, right? I always have trouble read those words. You could tell I always freaking stutter. When Skirk has at least 50 Serpent Subtlety, she can expand all of her certain subtlety to unleash her elemental burst, ripping the space before her apart and using rapid consecutive slashes to deal AoE cryo damage. At the same time, the damage dealt by this instance of the elemental burst will be increased by every point of Serpent Subtlety over 50 when it is unleashed. Up to 12 points can be counted for this purpose. At the same time, oh wait, I just read that. I'm so stupid. Once you get into Havoc Extinction, a special elemental burst that can be used even without consuming Serpent Subtlety. After using it, Skirk will gain the All Shall Wither effect, which will last until 7-phase flash ends. After unlocking the passive talent, Reason Beyond Reason, which there's so much like counter reading to everything, it's insane. She can also absorb nearby void rifts while what the heck? It's so like messed up. I hate this. Void Rifts. While All Shall Wither is active, every zero point 0.1 seconds after Skirk's normal attack hits an opponent, the normal attack will deal increased damage. If she absorbed any Void Rifts while using Havoc Extinction, this normal attack damage will be further increased based on the number of Rifts absorbed, which gets pretty freaking nuts, right? Like in your level 1 talent, you go from 3.5 to 11. But let's say the average is level 7. You're going from 6.5 on no rifts to 17%, which is a giant leap. And if you max, it goes from 10.5% to 25%. And that's if you go up to the 15, right? But mainly, let's go to the 10. You're going from 8% to 20%. Pretty dang insane, in my personal opinion. I think that's actually the go-to because if you look 8 to 20 and then 10.5 to 25, you're going up 2.5% on your zero riffs, sure, but like, I don't know. I feel like 10 is just the sweet spot in general that you want to be at. And then, of course, we got her passive skills, Reason Beyond Reason. When nearby party members trigger Frozen, Superconduct, Cryo Swirl, or Cryo Crystallization reactions against opponents, a Void Rift will appear created near this opponent. This effect can be triggered once every 2.5 seconds. 3 Void Rifts created by Skirk herself can exist on the field at once. She could use the following methods to absorb Void Rifts. When she hits the opponent with a charged attack of her 7-phase flash mode. When she uses the special elemental burst Havoc Extinction while in 7-phase flash mode. When she holds her elemental skill Havoc Warp to engage in rapid movements, and each Rift Absorb will grant her 8 Serpent Subtlety points. And then her second passive, Return to Oblivion, when nearby Hydro party members' Hydro attacks hit opponents, or when nearby Cryo party members apart from Skirk hit opponents with Cryo attacks, Skirk will gain the Death's Crossing effect for 20 seconds, max 3 stacks. Each stack's duration is counted independently. Sorry about that. Each character can grant Skirk at most 1 Death's Crossing attack by this means. Each Death Crossing stack increases the normal attack damage dealt by Skirk in 7-phase flash mode by 110, 120, and 170% of its original damage, and the damage dealt while using the elemental burst. So what does that really mean? It means that, in my personal opinion, your Skirk is going to be busted if you run her in a Frozen team. And I think that this was the way for them to balance out Cryo teams. Now, again, I'm not condoning it because if you're going to put an overpowered unit to make, a team stronger, it kind of sucks because all your other Cryo DPSs are not going to perform as well. Ayaka's not going to perform at this level. or at least from what it seems like, because Skirk is absolutely insane. Skirk is an Arlecchino for Cryo, and it really shows, right? Skirk is a Nouvelette for Cryo, and it really, really shows, right? So, to me, here is who I think that you should put on your team for Skirk if you summon for her. Number one, obviously, Skirk is going to be the DPS. I would definitely say that. Number two, Dahlia is definitely going to be somebody that you want on your team. The fact that Dahlia is going to boost your attack speed, give you shields consistently so that you don't have to switch in, and be able to be that support that you need in the back, I think that says leaps and bounds. I think that also, if you're looking for another support slash, good Cryo character to help out, you need either Escoffier if you haven't pulled her, which it's already too late, but you're going to have to wait for another rerun, because Escoffier is going to be like the perfect opportunity unit to have with her. Her skill's going to be constantly helping out with Skirk, along with their burst being constantly attacking, giving you those extra stacks. Or Shenhe, because the burst is going to do the same thing, boosting up that damage for you, or not really boosting up damage, but really causing cryo resistance to be like cut down on the enemies, right? So there's that. And then for your other Hydro unit, I would say, so like let's say you're running a Skirk, Escoffier, Dahlia, I would say either Yelan or Xingqiu to give you more of that Hydro damage to keep boosting up those stacks and giving you more time to be able to get everything set up for your Skirk's final just damage output bonanza. Now, again, am I going to tell you right now that Skirk is a must summon? I truly feel it is. And the reason being is because, again, as I've stated, she's going to be the Arlecchino or the Nouvelette of that element. And I feel like it's nearly impossible for you to really just sit here and be like, I shouldn't summon for Skirk. I think that even not on a Frozen team, because she could do Superconduct and all these other ones, she could still perform, but I don't think she's going to perform to the ability that she is able to on a Freeze team. And that's saying something for somebody who loves Cryo units. I do. I know that Cryo is a crappy element right now, but Skirk is going to boost up that Cryo team in general to a very good level. But again, that's just a theory. A grandpa theory. No. But no, seriously, if you're considering something for Skirk, don't spend your money, obviously. I spend my money so that you don't have to. I haven't really spent in Genshin Impact in a while, to be honest, so there's that. But that's going to be it for today. Let me know if you're going to be summoning for Skirk or Shenhe. Tell me what your team's going to be and how excited are you for this unit. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to, comment. I really want to hear you guys' comments in the comments section. Can I say comment again? Yes, I can. Anyways, y'all, that's Gotcha Grandpa signing off. Thank you so much, and we will see you in the next video. Please take care and be safe.